Namaste.
Hello and welcome to the Sikkim podcast brought to you by Summit Times. I'm Tshering Eden
And I'm Pema Wangchuk.
and
We're back.
we're back today to celebrate.
Oh yeah, you said you're going to start on a kind of a
Positive
self-congratulatory note.
Yes. So I think this is the first time we've got a letter.
No, we received letters earlier as well.
No, but not for podcast.
Yeah, podcast.
We have.
Yeah.
I thought this was the first.
But it's been a while.
Okay, this is
it's
the
been
first
a very long while.
This is the first longish letter that we have received, and it's from Prashant Sharma, who says he's a health activist and the founder coordinator of Sikkim Drug Users Forum, which is a community organization, and he's of course said how great our work is and all that.
Yeah.
And then he says he reads our paper as well as
He's got a very keen eye.
to the podcast, and he basically it's a very long letter.
He's kind
so
of pointed us to stories that we should.
thank you very much, Prashant, and
for that.
we will follow up on your advice and suggestions. And but to give a gist of what the letter is about, he's talked about how in one of our podcasts we had discussed how these health schemes that are mostly central schemes and is given only to COI holders here in Sikkim.
Yeah, even the state schemes. I think it's more the state schemes that go exclusively to, but the funding comes from Delhi, of course.
Funding comes from Delhi. It's funded by the center, but then it's only given to COI holders, and how that does not make sense because you have communicable diseases like TB and hepatitis also he talks about, right? Where anybody can get, I mean, even a non-COI holder can suffer from such a disease and transmit it to COI holders, let's say.
Yes.
So
No
it's
ILP
as
is required for
ridiculous.
viruses and bacteria.
I know.
Clearly.
So he's also talked about the TB program. I think the NTB program and how it needs to be more properly implemented. I think he has some problems with that as well.
The whole
Yeah.
idea of Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas is kind of lost in exclusionary access to schemes and benefits. That being the basic gist of it.
Yeah. So
You didn't tell us anything nice he said about us.
He said that your viewpoint, research, and experience can be seen very clearly, and I really do support and encourage you both to continue your work in many concerns of people who need their voice to be heard, and my best wishes to both of you and the team behind it.
Oh, that's awesome.
Awesome, no? And he's also said that, oh my God, there is...
Yeah, we've got very noisy neighbors
Yeah.
moving in.
So he's also said that the podcast I think he's talking about is interesting because it is more than the fast track news that you get nowadays on, I think, social media he's talking about. And
Which is where we are as well. Anyways, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that too. But like we discuss more in detail, I think that's what he's saying. So again, thank you very much, Prashant, and keep writing to us and keep giving us suggestions.
And we will follow up the story ideas that you suggested.
Yeah, which we cannot reveal.
Yeah, because you got to watch out for the next episode. Forthcoming episodes.
And articles in the newspaper.
Yes.
So let's start with the teachers' protest that happened yesterday. It was not really a protest, but then
It was not a protest. I think this whole the word dharna and gherao doesn't apply to this particular presence, let's say, the arrival of teachers, because that's what the department invited until it forgot or preferred to ignore. So anyways, but give us the background. I mean, this is a story that we've been tracking for a while, but it's only last week that you did a story, right?
Yeah.
Explaining what is happening.
Yeah, so we broke the news, let's say,
Yeah.
in this case. So what to
Which
start?
is surprising for a print platform to do in these times of
I know.
instant news.
Yeah. So the first story we had done was about how we'd heard that the education department and the state government is planning to cancel the recruitment process of primary and graduate language teachers. Altogether, I think there are like 500 and something posts,
Oh,
like graduate
total.
and primary.
Hmm. Across government schools. And language teachers, of course, all regional languages.
Yeah.
Nepali, Bhutia, Lepcha.
And so
And this was something, a major part of which had already been completed about a year and a half back, right?
yeah, in Feb 2019, the entire process, yeah,
Okay.
2019 Feb, the graduate teachers had completed all the processes. Like they had given written exams, and they had sat for the viva. They had sat for they've given the classroom demonstration,
Wow.
and they were only awaiting the results.
Yeah, the final
And
results.
we got access to some information intel from the education department stating that even the candidates had also been selected. The final list had been drawn out,
Yeah.
and had been submitted to the then education minister, Mr. R.B. Subba.
Mhm.
And after that, it had just stalled because then the elections happened. And supposedly, the excuse that was given was since it's Feb, the elections happened in Feb or March?
April.
April.
May. Yeah.
So, anyways,
Results came out.
they could have taken it out then, but then they said, "Nahi, like let the elections get over and then we'll take out the results," is what we've heard. But that didn't happen, right? So then after that, there had been no news of what had happened. This is for the graduate language teachers.
And
For the-
when you say that the results had come out, the results were ready for the
Mm.
graduate teachers in Feb, what is the lead up to that we're looking at? About a year of exams and interviews?
Yeah, 2018 the
from
process
from
had
the
started.
time when the advertisement is notified.
The advertisement, they said the process had actually yesterday what the teachers said was informally, like I don't know, they said it had begun in 2017,
Okay.
but officially the process began in 2018.
Okay, so in 2017 they started finding out how many are required
Yeah,
and this and that
yeah.
and what should be the criteria.
Mm.
2018 is when the advertisement notice,
Yes.
employment notice
Yeah,
comes
yeah.
out, and from there kicks in the whole thing of applying, giving the exam,
Exams.
the first list comes out, you
Yeah.
give the viva, and then you give the class demo. So about a
Mm.
year
Mm.
of the hopes and aspirations, let's say.
Yeah, and then for the primary teachers, only
Mhm.
the written exams were held.
Okay.
The
Results
written
were out?
written exams ka results were no written exam ka results were out, I think.
Mhm.
And the
But that doesn't matter. So the written exams were held.
the classroom demonstration and viva was supposed to be held, but were never held.
But then
The-
politics happened.
Yeah, so these two categories, and apart from this, I think during the same time, the postgraduate teachers, language teachers, notices also came out during it was the same in the same batch.
advertisement.
But I mean, for whatever reason, their recruitment process has been completed. They are already working in.
Also
schools.
because there might be fewer, no? You would require fewer PGT,
PGT,
teachers.
yeah.
Because when you're saying 530 odd
Mm.
teachers, I think 170 are graduate,
Yeah,
and which means about 300
primary.
or more are primary
Yeah.
school teachers. So I think PGT even fewer teachers.
Fewer,
So
yeah.
maybe that's why the process could be completed.
Yeah, so
Let's just stay with the old story first,
Mm.
right? Before we get on to what's
Mm.
happening now. You also wrote in your report that this hiring was happening after a gap of 12 years.
yeah, so no, let me just finish my background. No,
That's what I'm saying.
no. So the background is this has happened, and then we had heard that the department is planning to cancel the entire process,
Mhm.
but we weren't sure. So I went to the education department and met with the publicity in charge. I don't know, public
Spokesperson,
relations.
publicity.
It was public relations, huh?
Yeah,
Nodal,
public relations,
whatever
yeah.
officer,
Public
public
relations is
relations
fine.
officer. So,
Spokesperson.
and he said that we are looking into the matter and we will give a decision in a few days. He did not want to speak.
Yeah, for all we know, he was
anything.
not even clued in. We don't know at what level these decisions are
Yeah,
taken.
so that's all I got from the department, and The secretary was not in office at the time. He was out for some program. He had gone to Guwahati or whatever. So, but then you have a spokesperson. So I spoke to the spokesperson, and that's what we got. And then a few days.
But we did get confirmation that yes, the process had been completed and
Yeah.
nothing came of it. As in, only the final stage was left of the announcement of names in one case at least.
I spoke to another officer who did not want to come on record. So, and he was also like. Flummoxed. He was like he said, I don't know what's happening, like I don't know why they're doing this, like it's everything was already set and all that. Anyway, so then yesterday on 25th.
And we had also reported that the department was planning, I mean, in the report there was also the mention of this very strong indication that the entire process might be scrapped, which did not sit very well with the teachers. And
then so this here it's a little unclear. Then the department issued a notification that we got access to on not a notification, a notice, I think on 27th of Feb.
27, 28, yeah.
Feb, we got access to a notification, to a notice which is dated 25th Feb, saying that, not 27th, 29th Feb maybe.
Maybe even later.
Because the report, our report came out 28th Feb. So let's say, 29th. So there was a notice issued by the department dated 25th Feb, saying that we have withdrawn the employment notices, advertisements and all other notices related to the hiring of language teachers. And that is what led to a kind of protest, like I was saying yesterday, at the education department.
Yeah,
where
not a protest,
but
there
were
no narebazi or anything.
There was nothing like that.
Yeah.
So what happened was, these in the notice it was stated that these notices, the employment notices, have been withdrawn, and within 30 days from the date of the issue of this notice, these teachers, these applicants, are free to come to the department for any grievances. So yesterday, a huge group of teachers.
We reported the notice.
We reported the notice,
Notice in the paper the day before. It was in the day before the edition, the day before, which is what, the 4th, is it? Yesterday was 6th. What is the date? Today is 6th. We reported on the 4th, I think. And on 5th is when the teachers arrived, right?
Yeah. So they arrived yesterday, 5th, at the department. And then it was only in the evening that we got to know that they are unhappy, and they wanted to talk about what is happening with them. Before that, so what happened was, the teachers had reached in the morning at 9 a.m. At the department, waiting to meet the secretary to
responding
to the notice.
Which said, if the applicants or affected people have any grievances, they should approach the department. And this notice was never made public as such. These were individual letters that are being sent out to all the candidates, it seems. So they would, which is dated. The letters are dated 27th.
The notice
itself is dated 25th. The letters that the teachers have been receiving is dated 27th. Same material, same content, the same message.
So they have a cover letter which is dated 27th Feb, and then under that is the main notice, which is dated 25th. Okay. So, and not all of them have received it because they are like posted in various districts and all that. So, but then a few got those individual letters, and then they informed the rest. And
the story came out.
And our story about the notice also came out, and many of them also said that suddenly we just saw it in through Summit Times news report, and we didn't know this was going to happen or has happened. So then yesterday they decided to all come and approach the secretary to talk it out,
present their grievances.
But till 6 in the evening, when till I was there, I spoke to them around 5:30 like that. Until 6 they had not met a single department official
or received any communication from them.
Nothing. So they were waiting. They said we'll wait as long as we can to, and we have to talk to the secretary because we do not get leaves. We are scheduled to leave very soon.
Most of them, all of them, are currently on ad hoc appointments.
Most of them, all of them, all of them are ad hoc teachers. So they don't get leaves from the schools. They are scheduled to leave for a CBSE evaluation training in Guwahati, and they said we cannot come every day like it. So we thought we'll all come together and then talk to the secretary, but this is what has happened.
Yeah, nobody.
So they are supposed to today also try and meet the secretary. We haven't got an update as of now. We'll be getting, and we will be reporting it in tomorrow's paper. So then this is the basic story.
Yeah.
And then there are a lot of other things that now.
So we have one of the largest departments when it comes to the number of people on the rolls. One of the largest departments of the state government bungling something that they had 12 years to prepare for.
So yes, the highlights. The regional language teacher vacancies were announced after 12 years.
Yeah.
The graduate Nepali teacher vacancy was announced for the first time this time. This is the first ever recruitment happening for Nepali graduate teachers.
Yeah. Wow.
And when I asked them, I said, so what was happening till now? They said any graduate teacher who knew Nepali or whatever, they could teach. They were teaching.
So they were never. So a I'm sure they had few, but so we have a chunk of middle school teachers, Nepali language teachers, who are not actually hired to teach Nepali, which would mean that they're not even probably technically qualified to teach the subject either, right? That is how it has been running all this while. Wow.
Yeah. I was thinking maybe there were also Nepali graduates, proper Nepali graduates, but who don't have, let's say, B.Ed or TET or I don't know, there must be some...
No, but the fact being that they have not been hired to teach Nepali.
Yeah, that's
right. I mean, they might have been very good teachers of the language, but they had not been hired for that specific job. They were probably hired to teach something else. But because they knew the language and could teach students, they were just given that additional assignment as well.
Yeah.
Given how casually this whole thing was run, if you're finally doing it after like 12 years, come on.
Yeah, so the thing is, this is I was also a little bit confused about what to think of this, in the sense that, of course, a lot of people are saying that those people who were selected, if through this process for, let's say, the GTs, their process was complete, right? So recommended they were like, it was not...
No, but this was a regular appointment which followed all the processes.
Yeah, but
I can understand that about ad hoc and temporary teachers.
No, but still, right? Garbad kar diya hai. That's what people think,
Garbad
right?
kar diya hota to nikalna chahiye tha list. The list didn't come out.
Kya?
If there had been some mischief in the way the people were selected, then the list should have come out.
No, maybe there was, or the previous government wanted to do some more garbad after they came back to power. Maybe they were hoping, for whatever reason, let's not get into all that. But that is the general viewpoint of some, like even I
some
have thought
sections.
that. Yeah, कि ठीक ही किया, क्योंकि ये लोग तो ऐसे ही like minister का भांजा था या किसी का वो था and all that.
No. But you're making the mistake there. They were not being regularized.
Yeah,
there was an entire process of written exams and viva and classroom demos.
No, please don't tell me you think that the process, even after following due process,
No, but that is the best you can get, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
There is no other way you can improve.
No, that's what I'm saying. These are doubts that have come to my mind also, that have come to other people's minds also. But I'm saying, still, you cannot... ऐसे तो कुछ भी you cannot accept, right?
There is no excuse, because parties in office change, political parties in office change, but the government continues. You cannot have a new government which arrives and then just kind of scratches out everything that the previous one has done and start afresh. That is like not how things are done. When you've completed a process, you've got to respect because the administration doesn't change, right? So if you're telling me that the administration itself is compromised, then fire everybody. Empty HRD out, hire new people, right? Or we got to and of course the system can be gamed, right? We all know that the system can be gamed, but then is there any other option?
So I think this is the best that you can get, because if the cancellation whatever goes through, if the government sticks to its
The government's
scrapping.
clearly made up its mind, and who's going to challenge it?
Now the next recruitment that is going to take place, obviously the questions will be raised about that also, right? Like
No,
maybe
but
that's
my point is the unfairness of the whole thing.
yeah that
You put these
completely.
teachers through a year of this screening process, and after making them wait for another year before you could make up your mind on that you're going to just ditch them, you lose momentum, you lose morale, you cross the age bar when the if a fresh employment notice is released, and let's say a section of the teachers who had applied in the 2 years back are now have crossed the age limit, and because you're holding it after 12 years, my point is that someone who was of the right age 12 years back, right, and is now 12 years older, above the age bar, should also be allowed to apply, because they did not get a chance to apply for this post when they were of the age, till they were of the age, and because the department is so not running at all, it seems. It should not be on a person who wants to be a teacher, right? If I want to teach Nepali language, and I don't want to be ad hoc or temporary, and I want a proper government job, but for 12 years you did not advertise the posts, should my aging be held against me for the department's inadequacies?
Yeah.
Right?
And
Do
we
you
know-
realize what they're getting into here? I'm not just talking the last 2 years. 12 saal ka bhi, I think the responsibility has to be taken. They should not be just allowed to do these things.
Yeah, they should not. And I would like to point out to the listeners also why such gaps happen, because you have ad hoc teachers who are absorbed into the government's service, and then all the vacancies are filled, vacancies are filled, and then you can't have exams after that.
Yeah,
So
and that is a business that is absolutely
yeah,
wrong.
that is something that the government needs to look into as well if it really wants real parivartan. I think that would be real parivartan. You stop that, you take out let's say 30-20 vacancies every year for a period of whatever,
And hire people properly.
yeah, but that is a tall ask, not going to happen anyway.
No, because people like dishing out favors.
So what is absolutely unfair, and when we think about it, is also these teachers, they pointed this out, is that they have gone through such a long drawn out process from the time, not even from the recruitment process, not even from when the recruitment began, from before that they have to get a B.Ed, they have to pass the teacher entrance test, whatever eligibility test, TET, then they had to apply, undergo the document scrutiny process. I think if something is wrong they get rejected there also, right? And then they sit for the written exams, then they sit for the viva, classroom demonstration, and then finally the government says we scrapped all that.
No, I think the government should say, "Ki, we messed up." I think first the department should apologize and say, "Ki, sorry, humse nahi ho payega. Please get a new group of people who will do it properly." No, but who are you going to blame for this? You can't just scrap it because you claim that someone has challenged it in the High Court. You fight a case in the High Court, and if the court stays it or the court orders you to scrap it, that's a whole different argument.
So we
altogether.
forgot to mention this, why the department's justification of scrapping the recruitment process was that there is a court case, there's a case in the High Court which has challenged the recruitment process, alleging that proper NCTE norms were not followed.
Did they say all that? Oh.
Yeah, no,
In the notice.
In the notice it said, it's mentioned ki it is challenged in the High Court because uniformity was not maintained in the recruitment process, and NCTE norms are not followed. What they mean is that, so here this other complication happens. So the case that is in the High Court is has been filed by a group of I think graduate teachers, candidates who, from what I have learned from the teachers who were there yesterday, that they sat for the written exams but were not allowed to sit for the viva and classroom demonstration because they did not have B.Ed.
Mhm.
Sorry, they did not have TET.
Mhm.
They had not passed the teacher eligibility test. And these were only Nepali teachers. So,
Nepali language teachers.
Nepali language teachers. I know that sounds so wrong.
Yeah.
So, Nepali language teachers. So, in the recruitment, only Nepali language teachers were asked to have TET.
Mhm.
I don't know if it's TET or B.Ed. They said TET. I've been hearing it's about the B.Ed anyway. So it's either B.Ed or TET, but only for Nepali language teachers. So these people have challenged the recruitment in the court, saying that why is only Nepali language teacher required to have these qualifications, and the rest other regional languages they don't need. But the teachers yesterday also said that this was mentioned in the advertisement, in the employment notice, and they should have had a problem with it
at
that time and protested it. Why did they have to
Yeah, I mean it's in the court, so they
Yeah.
are the arguments for and against are for the court to decide. But I think the government is now going to go to the court and saying that we've scrapped the entire process, so the case doesn't hold, so scrap it, which might work in the court. Court might say, okay, fine, since the reason why people have come to us with a case doesn't exist anymore, this case stands disposed. But when it comes to these people, the candidates who might have qualified, who made it through this entire process, for them you need to give better excuses. Otherwise, what the government is trying to say is that if I want to scrap any recruitment process, I just go to court.
No, yeah, interestingly, the next hearing date for this case is set for 17th March. And so the teachers also pointed out that why are they taking action when the case has not been disposed? It's not like the court has put a stay order.
Yeah.
There is the final judgment has not been dealt out. So why take such an action beforehand?
I mean, imagine if the education department can't hire teachers right. What possible thing could it be getting right? And recently that notification had come out. Remember, they sent out this long checklist to private schools that we are watching you and you have to meet
our standards. Please
which is like sad. I mean, I remember writing at that time itself the saying that I don't think private schools are doing a great job in Sikkim, right? I mean, that's not the point. But I don't think education department has any locus standi to tell private schools how to run their businesses or schools or educational institutions, because, I mean, look at education department.
I know. And another highlight, is that this is how bad the education department, they don't think things through. So the employment notice and the advertisements that have been withdrawn via this notice also applies to the postgraduate language teachers who have already been hired
and are about to complete their probation period.
They are about to complete their probation period. So their recruitment is effectively illegal.
Yeah, I know. It's at times like this you wish that time travel was possible. That these guys could just bloody travel back in time and either not just issue the advertisement in the first place or just do it right. I don't know.
I don't know how they would do it.
Yeah, that's a kind of a...
So then they'll take out another notice saying that only...
This section.
It applies to only this section and PGTs are out of it.
Yeah, because this reminds me of what happens in the assemblies and parliament, right? Where they'll say sometimes very offensive things and wrong, factually incorrect things, and then the speaker will say, oh, that stands expunged. And my argument has always been कि boy बोल दिया तो बंदे ने, you expunge it from your records, but I heard it, he said it, I can report it and then say this assembly has expunged it, but you can't just wish it away, right? You've done the deed. So what I was about to also say is that thank God they've changed the name to Education Department, which is disturbing enough, right? But earlier it used to be called Human Resource Development Department, and look at how they manage their human resources. They don't have a clue. But anyways, enough ranting. But fact being that it's still a developing story, there doesn't appear to be enough political headwind being created about it. So it doesn't look like the government is going to change things. is going to go back on its decision or even come up with a proper reasoned out explanation beyond ki court mein hai, so kya kare, whatever. So let's see how this plays out.
And
I mean, do you remember similar things that happened at the fag end of the SDF government, and like teachers were on the streets
yeah, no.
and they got regularization?
Yeah. Wait, though, and then we have headlined it, we have highlighted that part also. Ki it's not regularization.
They're not asking for regularization. They're not asking for favors.
They said we've gone through the entire
Yeah,
process, we've done
just
it,
completed.
followed due process, and still we are being treated like this. I think they would have got jobs better if they had asked for faster, or like
Yeah.
if they had asked for regularization and sat for a dharna for a few days. And also, I would like to highlight that one teacher that I met there was a 41-year-old teacher a Limbu language teacher, and he had joined service 13 years back. He had become a teacher 13 years back, and this was the first opportunity he got to sit for a regular post
Wow.
exam.
And he's already overage, isn't
He
it?
overage, I think he's overage.
Which he wasn't
Mm.
when this exam was
Yeah.
actually held. And that was my point, right?
Yeah,
What do you do with such
Yeah.
people who've given their youth?
yeah.
I'm 41, is still young, but anyways, who've given the youth to something that they want to do,
So
and you're going to take that opportunity away from them. Wow.
when I spoke to the other teachers also, I mean, in Sikkim, they are very hesitant to give out names and all that, right? So they were like, it's better if you don't quote us, like, don't
My name.
write our names and all that. But this 41-year-old, he was like, Likho. I have no problem. You can write, you can give all my
Yeah.
details.
What worse could happen?
Yeah, I think that was what his...
And it's unfortunate. I mean, your
situation
heart
is.
goes out for such people, right?
Yeah.
I mean, this was... Because clearly this guy was not using it as a stopgap thing. Okay, let me be teaching before I can jump into the department as get absorbed into the department on an administrative post, which many people do, right? He just stuck with the job of teaching.
Yeah.
And now to see that things are so poorly run.
I hope they get to meet someone today. And this is another thing, no?
No, they'll not even talk to them properly. They'll talk down to them. See, this is where the bureaucracy is so irritating, right? They'll talk down to them, and then when there is a backlash, they'll be saying, "Oh, these guys are anarchists," or like they're just always protesting and things like that. You take them into confidence. I don't understand why, if you had decided this, it could not have been advertised in the papers and put up in the department's notice board and website that we've done this. You send them individual letters. That's a
Yeah.
scattergun effect, right?
Yeah.
You get individual letters. You don't know whether others have received it or not. You cannot coordinate. I mean, this is like such a Machiavellian plan. Like,
But that is also another thing that I have. I don't understand how they think that is this would have worked in today's age when technology hai. WhatsApp में एक ही minute में it will become a public notice. No, I don't understand that. I don't know what like.
no, but these are obsolete guys also, no? They received the training when none of these technologies existed, and they're never going to learn. So they thought that individual
I
letters
know.
bhejo, by the time they coordinate, 30 days will be up, we give them the time, or whatever.
No, but
I mean, or, of course, if you go and ask them now, they said, no, we made it personal. We added a personal touch. We wrote to them individually.
But I don't understand yesterday why one
They
officer,
couldn't. Why
one
none of
official
them-
could have
Or
just
even
come.
send a message.
No, just come and listen to them and said, we will look into this matter. That's the
No, I can't understand how they
line,
can
right?
say that we'll look into this matter when they've already decided.
Nahi, but still, that is
What they'll say.
That
Yes,
is
I get
different. But
that.
I'm saying just listen to them, and then just said ki we'll think about it or whatever.
Yeah.
But that would have calmed
I
them.
will take it under advisement.
No, that would have calmed them. They would have gone back. They would have whatever. I mean,
Yeah, and they
I'm
would
saying
not have
from
a
the
ground,
administration's
yeah.
perspective, right? To control the situation is what I'm saying. But they will just disappear every time they do this. They will just disappear. I don't know. I don't understand the logic behind this or what the government officials and what the government departments do whenever a protest like this happens. It will take them 4-5 days, maybe even a week for someone to come and then listen to them.
Yeah. I think what the teacher should do is, I received an individual letter saying that I've got 30 days to come and submit my grievance. If there are 100 teachers sitting in the department will do this. They'll say, okay, send 2-3 representatives, we'll talk to them. The teacher should say, why? We are not an organization. We don't have an association. It is not a protest.
Mm.
You asked me through an individual letter to submit my grievance. Now you sit on your table
Mm.
and we'll all be standing outside and we'll come one by one and we'll tell you our grievances.
I know.
And they should, that without being a gherav would be, I mean, that's the closest you can get to
Really
teaching them a
nice.
lesson.
Yes.
एक एक करके
very
आओ,
good.
everybody take 15 minutes, half an hour, 1 hour. That guy has to listen to you, take notes,
Mm.
read back the points that you
Mm.
listed out to you. Then you step out, the next person comes in. Do that.
Mm. Very good.
I think they should do that.
Excellent idea.
I think so.
And another thing I wanted to point out was one of the teachers, it's there in the video also, I think, says that, no? Because before, when we were approaching the department asking what is happening with the recruitment thing, they would keep giving us excuses. That is another thing. And they would also say, why are you like taking leaves from your school and coming here, wasting your time, whatever. So this guy was saying, now you've given us a letter saying that you can come to the department to give convey your grievances. We are here, but why are you not here to listen to our grievances?
And wasting the school's time, taking
And
time away from the kids.
And they also said that the secretary was informed. He was aware of them coming today to the department. Despite that,
He could have just
they could
delegated
not.
someone to talk to them. I mean, ideally, he should do it himself.
Yeah.
And the minister.
Yeah. So
बहुत हो गया?
बहुत हो गया bashing, education department bashing. We move on to the...
We're not going to get jobs as teachers.
The next topic we would like to discuss is the SDF Foundation Day.
On 4th of March.
On 4th of March, which was held at SDF Bhawan on Bypass Road.
Yeah. I was surprised by the turnout.
How many do you think?
I mean, they filled the hall and there were people outside as well. Which, given that it has lost all its leaders, elected representatives, I think is pretty impressive.
And
that people will still come and be seen as SDF supporters when the leaders don't want to be seen as such. I think that was pretty impressive.
What do you make of the former CM's address on the day?
I don't know whether it was what the party supporters wanted to hear. Like, the party supporters don't want to hear a Foundation Day speech in which you'll just talk about how good the SDF government had been in the 25 years, right? We've heard that enough. And no one is denying that SDF has a respectable legacy to leave behind when it comes to its stay in office as the government in Sikkim, right? But I think what the people want to hear is, how are we going to rebuild? How are we going to rebuild? How are we going to reclaim the trust of the people? How are we going to convey to the people that SDF is still a party that will represent them at a time when SDF has not been speaking out much, when it has squandered really the mandate that it received from the people. When it has done all that, I think the SDF also needs to address what happened with its MLAs. It has never done that in a public... don't the party supporters need to know that we condemn these people who jumped ship?
They haven't said that.
They might have said that. They might have said that in the Foundation Day speech as well. But so, I mean, it was good. The good parts were where Mr. Chamling admitted that they had kind of lost touch with the people and that it was essentially just office bearers who benefited from 25 years of SDF rule. Which admission is good. It's a fact. That's what many of the supporters had problems with. But what SDF cannot forget is that it had the mandate of the people, right? It did get a huge number of MLAs. It did get the popular vote. But it squandered it away. That is what I want SDF to address. What I want SDF to address is that we are not going to go missing for the next 4 years. Right? I was like happy because Sikkim needs a regional party and SDF owes it to the people also. 25 saal, they kept them in government, right? It cannot just vanish from the public space so quickly.
Yeah.
It cannot just kind of be angry that the people didn't bring it to government and all those things. This is democracy. This is how it should be. You got to respect the mandate of the people and you got to work to win their favor back. And yes, there has to be a lot of SKM bashing. There has to be a lot of, not physical, there has to be a lot of SKM bashing. You've got to criticize the government enough. But you can't do it to a captive audience of only your supporters, right? You're not doing it enough in the public domain. Two of your hardcore supporters who stayed with you got arrested for, for clearly, okay, there must have been some section of the IPC that they attracted, but they would not have been, had it been any other person, they wouldn't have been arrested. But they were a stronger showing against such.
He did issue
moves.
a public statement,
Yes.
on
On
social
Facebook.
media. Yeah.
Like,
You
you
should
got to
have-
realize that Facebook is not going to win you. You got to put boots on the ground.
Yeah.
You got to put boots on the ground. You got to go into the villages, which I think he said. That was the good part, right? The good part was where he said, now I'm going to go to the people, to the villages. And to Mr. Chamling's credit, he never really lost touch with the people, right? His public meetings in the villages were actually quite interesting, where mid-speech he would just call out someone he recognized in the audience, some 70-year-old that he knows, and he'd call out and check on him and things like that. So that connect was always there. It works. The people he picked for party tickets and the people he gave important positions in the party hierarchy, or the people he made ministers, they might have let him down, right? But he still has to take responsibility for it, because people look at him and vote. So I think that was a good part. It'll be interesting to see him going to the villages.
At this right
It's not going to be easy. You remember the by-election campaigning when his motorcades were actually attacked, right? So it's not going to be easy for him or for SDF workers to actually do this outreach program in the villages. But I think they should start now. Not because we want SDF to come back to government or anything like that, but because you need an alternate
I was going to
party
say,
that has some base.
at this rate, at right now, how the party is, let's say, almost non-existent,
Disintegrating.
in the when it comes to opposing government decisions right now, or like putting out their perspective, their viewpoints, or like you said, even in the arrests of two of their supporters, workers. At this rate, right now, it is still SDF is still, people still remember, because it is not much time has passed since they were
Not
toppled.
even a year.
Not even a year, right? But if they keep doing or not doing anything, in a few years, even like a year or two, people will stop. People will forget there was even a party called SDF.
Yeah, they'll become inconsequential,
Because-
which will be such a shame.
Because right now you see in many issues of the state, you have BJP constantly talking about, at least sending press releases.
And they're friends. Well, let's not call them allies
Yeah,
yet.
yeah. They're at least sending press releases, right? And even Congress sends press releases from time to time. But
Holds press conferences also.
press conference also. SDF is nowhere.
Yeah, because I think the one thing that SDF has still not grown out of is that they wait for Mr. Chamling to tell them what to do. I think Mr. Chamling has to give a freer hand to his spokespersons and party workers and tell them ki yaar, tu every day hold a press conference. Up to you to talk about or say whatever. If there's any confusion, get
Like
back
the
to me.
BJP.
Yeah.
BJP will send you like about everything. They have something to say.
The party president visits a party office,
Yeah.
news comes.
But it's, So, like right now, I think Hamlo Sikkim has disappeared. We have like... So Hamlo
Your Sikkim has not disappeared. Hamlo Sikkim party has disappeared.
Hamlo Sikkim can afford to disappear.
Don't call it Hamlo Sikkim. You say Hamlo Sikkim party.
Hamlo Sikkim party can afford to disappear, I was saying. But not afford, like it's a new party, right?
It's a new party. It
But
does not really
SDF
have that
cannot do
presence.
that, no?
SDF can't do that.
Hamlo Sikkim has completely disappeared.
Yeah.
Hamlo Sikkim is disappearing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Such a
Bad joke.
bad joke. So, so SDF ka...
No, I think SDF really kind of, not for itself. I think it's done enough for itself and its leaders.
For its supporters.
For its supporters, and for the fact that people...
For the state.
For the state. Because the state has kept them in office for 25 years.
Yeah.
They have to at least
They have to at least spend 10 years to go
as
out.
a good opposition, right? Before they can say, okay, now you can disappear.
Yeah. No, you can't just disappear in a year. Yeah.
In a year. You can't do that.
Yeah, that's really sad. And let's move on to another topic, which is again, coronavirus.
COVID-19.
Novel coronavirus. And the state of Sikkim has suspended inner line permits and for all foreign nationals.
Yeah, inner line permits were only for foreigners.
And it
Closed
has
Nathula.
Closed Nathula, and it has also
For
supposedly
tourists, not for the army.
Put in place other precautionary measures, and we have already. I think Sikkim has
this happened after the nation got hit, right? After Delhi detected those 25 cases in one day, then that's when Delhi suddenly realized that we are not as cut off from the rest of the world as we think we are. And so it's a national level move. At the national level, they're doing this, upping the protection levels or whatever. And I mean, I'm still not convinced that such extreme measures were required. I don't think there was any valid... I mean, you've got to give me a valid reason, right? Now, people will say, what's wrong with the precautionary measure? My point is, if you take precautionary measures without explaining or informing or telling me the valid reasons for it, then it becomes a habit. It is like Section 144, right? That the DC, because he has the power, the moment he even hears a whiff of a rumor, he'll impose Section 144, whether it's required or not, right? The same with this level of protectionism. I don't know what to call it. I think it's a bit excessive.
No, I don't think it is excessive. Especially for Sikkim, I don't think it is excessive because...
It's not equipped.
It's not equipped in terms of manpower also, I think. Not in terms of quantity, maybe in terms of quantity also, but in terms of quality.
Oh, okay.
So...
quantity of patients or quantity of doctors?
Not just doctors.
You don't need doctors.
The administration
you need the
also.
Administration, yeah.
So
I think health is as poorly run
we've
as
already
education.
talked about how poor it is in the last podcast, right? How they handle these situations. So I think... But still, jitna bhi precautionary measure karna hai, karo no. But I would like to focus on quality again there. You just say, ye ho gaya, ye band kar diya. That's not it. That's not just it, right? Even the domestic tourists, you should...
yes. Test everyone?
Test.
You can't. It's not practically... Everyone will come to Sikkim for health checkup. Yeah? They're checking everyone very properly at Rangpur. Let's go and get a health checkup.
Okay. There should be proper measures in place on... really in place is what I'm saying. बोलने को तो बोल देते हैं ना, but then जब करते हैं तो we know how it happens.
Delivery तो नहीं होगा.
So those things, they focus on those things, and then I don't have a problem with it. I don't think it's
okay.
excessive.
I'll tell you why I have a problem with these extreme measures, right? When you take these extreme measures, then you're not focusing on the real thing that is required, which is preparation. I think Sikkim should have focused more on worst case scenario. There is a coronavirus outbreak in Sikkim. What are we going to do, right? How are we going to trace back the people who might have come into contact? Are my hospitals equipped? Are we going to shut down schools? What will happen if I shut down schools? Right? Right now is flu season. How am I going to not panic and everyone with a runny nose does not have coronavirus in case it breaks out here? You got to tell me, why did you shut down Nathula? Just because they're Chinese across the border? They're not sneezing across the border fence at you, right?
Yeah.
So why did you shut down Nathula? You got to be able to tell me that, right? Are you going to stop Indian Army from patrolling the border areas? Because they might come in contact with a Chinese patrol which might have someone with the virus? No. Does Tibet have any cases of coronavirus? I mean, the point being that the government would say, oh, we've done such a bang-up job, right? Humne sab band kar diya. Now no foreigners can come, so no one from Italy or Tibet or wherever they're, Nepal or Bhutan, where they've had one case, is going to come into Sikkim, so we are safe. That's not enough. If the virus is to hit Sikkim, it will hit Sikkim, right? You have to focus more on the preparations that you have in place. The health department should not tell me ki we've shut down ILPs, we've done this and that. They should tell me how are you prepared? Are your nurses briefed? If I am with a suspect coronavirus case, how long before the nurse who attends to me knows what he or she, what precautions they need to take and how I should be treated? That is what they should be working on. They should be doing drills.
Yeah, wait to.
Which doctors are going to be called in? How quickly is the hotel where I stayed in going to be sealed off? How are those people going to be contacted? I don't even think they're thinking on those lines. They get this list from Delhi saying, ye karo, kar diya, ho gaya.
That is what I'm saying. I'm saying it's fine, all that announcement of... I don't have a problem with taking precautionary measures, but then do it properly is what I think.
No, I have a problem with taking precautionary measures when they're not informed. You've not given me the reason.
Okay. Don't give me the reason. I'm saying I don't need to...
Oh, fine. Let's just build a wall. Let's just build this vacuum sealed wall all along Sikkim's border. Everybody will be safe.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
We'll live off the land.
I'm saying don't give me the reason. Fine. But whatever measures that you're putting in place...
It's a democracy. You got to demand the reason.
अरे यार किसे समझाऊं मैं? I'm saying it's fine, but you do the carry out the precautionary measures properly, like you just listed out. All the things that need to be considered, preparations that need to be done, trainings to be held, briefings to be held. All that, do all that. Don't just say कि हमने ये कर दिया है and don't give an explanation also. I'm saying that if you did it properly, I wouldn't mind not being given an explanation.
Okay, for instance.
Especially in the case of coronavirus, not in other cases.
So fine, they've shut down the border, right? They've shut down the border. ठीक है. Has anyone checked with the hospitals? Okay, you got a quarantine isolation ward as well, okay? That
but
also. The surgery rooms were not properly sealed. I don't know what the isolation ward is.
Yeah. So isolation ward also, I think there are like 20 beds or something they've written, I think. Maybe at the max 50 beds hoga.
Yeah.
But in the case of if it really blows up, then
every PHC, every CHC will have to have a isolation access.
Continue.
My point is, has anyone checked? Because what happens with coronavirus is that there is no medicine for it, right? But if I have flu, you got to prepare for flu or respiratory kind of complications. The minister, the secretary, the medical superintendent or whoever, they should already be checking their inventory. Do we have enough medicines for the patients to handle these situations? I cannot treat a person for coronavirus, but he'll have a respiratory ailment. She will have a respiratory ailment. Do I have enough medicines in my hospital? I'm not going to tell people, Acha, ye lo list or jao, go buy it from the bazaar and come, right? Do we have that? Do we have enough 9.5 or whatever that mask is called, enough of those masks for the first line of defense that you're going to come with the health workers, right? Do we have enough of those? Have those people been briefed enough on what are the precautions to be taken? Or are they all just going to shriek and run away from me and just leave me on my wheelchair? That is what they should be focusing on. And they will not focus on that if they live in this make-believe world thinking Rangpur band kar diya to Sikkim safe ho gaya. That was also one of the reasons why I have problems with the kind of spontaneous sealing that they do, and then they think, okay, we've done our job.
I have absolutely...
this false sense of security that it
I have absolutely no doubt that the state is not properly equipped to handle such a situation, especially now they're calling it a pandemic.
No.
They're about to call it a pandemic.
No.
Last time I heard something like that. Anyway, so a serious
situation. Do you even know what a pandemic means? Bola bhi diya tha, as if the department officers know what a pandemic is different from.
A serious situation like this, because we have all heard, it's not just me, you have heard, I'm sure the listeners have also heard of the inadequacy in so many aspects of the health, let's say, centers in the state, right? Normal situation mein they don't have enough medicines or enough this or that to handle.
That.
वो check करके क्या होगा? Okay, I want to bring in, this is very twisted, but I want to bring in this weird theory that one, वो नहीं होगा because we don't have, let's say, the manpower is not well trained or, you know, well, okay.
The administration
Okay.
is screwed up.
Administration is screwed up. Second is that a lot of the resources, a lot of the money, let's say, goes into paying these workers in the health department who have been absorbed.
No, I think more money is spent in buying equipment for which work orders have to be given, and nothing is spent on maintenance or keeping
that
those
too.
machines running. I
Yeah.
think that takes up much more money.
Much more money.
It's
eh?
a very elitist thing to say that people have been absorbed and they are draining the economy. It's not that. I think it is the civil orders. It is when they order these fancy machines which no one in the department knows how to operate, and by the time they learn how to operate, all the, what are they called, expendables or whatever, the things that are used right in an x-ray machine, the films, by the time the guy learns how to take a good x-ray, he doesn't have films to process.
No, I am still processing this elitist comment.
No, because that's what you hear from people, right? Like all these OFOJ guys, they're draining the economy, and I know what amount of, do you even realize what budget the health department receives and what percentage of it these people
actually,
might be
it's
taking?
not very well informed.
It is in this huge sellouts that ministers and officers have done, right? By ordering things and no plans to keep them operational. Why is it there's a shortage of medicines in the hospitals? Why is it then in a state where you are offering free treatment to people, do people still go with a prescription list to MG Mark to buy their medicines?
Yeah, you don't get any medicines.
That is the problem. You don't get x-rays done
Yeah.
at STNM anymore.
No, and since we on this topic, there was one, I have shared this with you also, story about an equipment related story where this, what is it called? Now I'm forgetting. It's a
Whatever it is, very expensive.
Very expensive. It's like,
and one would have been enough.
30 lakhs or something like that for one machine, and one would have been enough for STNM hospital, because even AIMS supposedly has only one, AIMS in Delhi, and STNM had 3, I think, or 4. 3.
They could even have 7 for all we know.
More than that. Yeah, I think it's more than 3 and 4 of those. Okay, so they had it, and then so the catch with that machine is that it needs some whatever it has to be put in that machine. Okay.
To do whatever it is supposed to do.
Whatever it is supposed to do, and that thing costs 1 lakh, I think, and it is only for 1 month it lasts. So every month you'll have to spend 1 lakh, and
which they didn't budget for.
They didn't budget for, and if you don't put that 1 lakh ka thing in that machine,
it will know the thing that it's supposed to do.
No, the machine stops working. It has to be continually working. It needs that thing. Okay.
We are laughing, but we should actually be like
serious. So I'll tell you. So what happened was, so they didn't have machine to hai, but they were not putting that thing. I think once they did it and then forgot. There was no, once they put it and then the next time they needed it, the department said, paisa nahi hai. Okay, we don't have that much money, 1 lakh for 1 month's use, whatever. So then they couldn't use it. So they missed a couple of months, and then they couldn't use that machine anymore because it bigad gaya wo machine. Okay.
Children's park mein laga dene se hoga to kids
and then I mean, you don't need to use that machine. It's like for some specific ailment or for some specific reason, okay? But you do get those cases,
This is a multi-speciality hospital.
this is a multi-speciality. So this
supposedly
patient came who needed that machine, and they couldn't, and they had to send the patient to Manipal.
Which has the machine?
Manipal has one machine.
Manipal is managed properly.
Better, it's a private,
It's a managed
so
better.
Manipal has one.
In all probability, we don't know for sure.
So they had to send that. Even though in the hospital there were like 4 or 5 of these machines lying, but they cannot use it. They had to send it to Manipal. So so 30 lakhs per machine. If you calculate 4 or 5 machines, is like crazy. And
no, it's still not crazy enough, because they bought equipment for much more than that and never even opened the crates. Because they didn't prepare the room where that machine can be kept. So that is the kind of department we're dealing with. And if coronavirus has to be tackled, you have to focus on preparation. I think the minister should be sitting on their head saying, show me. Let's say a scenario, a Sikkim government delegation returns from abroad, 20 people, one of them tests positive. What are you going to do? How are you going to reach out to the 20, the 120 families that they might have met and things like that?
Yeah.
They should be doing that. And when you seal the borders, at the cost of repeating myself again, when you seal the borders, you give this false sense of security that all is well.
Yeah.
And then you don't focus on the real issues at hand.
Okay. I get it, and we
And
are
stay
over.
safe. Yes.
I just got some. Yeah. Anyway, so 1 घंटा हो गया, I think.
Huh.
I don't know how we are going to put out this.
No, I think we should put it all in one shot.
One shot.
Yeah.
All right. So, I hope it was not boring. This episode somehow I felt like we were a little low on energy, especially Pema.
Was it?
I think so.
I've not had lunch yet, so.
So,
I
anyway,
am not coming down with coronavirus.
thank you very much for listening to Sikkim Podcast. We are on YouTube, we are on Facebook, we are on various podcast platforms like Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Check us out, like us, share our podcast.
All these are podcast platforms.
Yeah.
Check it out. Like
No,
us.
no.
Okay.
So, please and
Yeah, and write in and give us suggestions on stories that you would like us to do a deeper dive in. Not on the podcast necessarily, but also by way of writing. And then we can discuss it in the podcast as well.
So you can mail us at news@summittimes.com. And you can just message us on Facebook also if you want. But I think mail is better because we check the mails more regularly than we check the Facebook messages. So